Good morning. It's Monday, May 10th. I'm Jason Stanton. This is my morning musing for today. I've heard a couple podcasts on this, and I also have read a number of articles about the population, the birth rate dropping in the United States. And I've just been musing on what does that mean for us as a church or for us as a nation, and mostly the church question, because that's what I do. Is I think about how these trends affect the life of faith, if at all. And just to give you a couple of the numbers, since 2007, there's a 40% decline in births among women in their early 20s. There's a 63% decline for teenagers. I mean, I remember, growing up in the 80s, and combating teen pregnancy was a huge message that was trying to be said in every way possible, and often 63% lower now than in 2007. That's an amazing decrease. Some of the guesses as to why the birth rate is falling for almost every age group of women in the United States, but especially those couple I just named, some of the guesses are that women have more control over their fertility, that women are working more, making it harder to juggle work life and home life, and women may prefer not to have a family. Like, that preference is more accepted now than ever. Those are three possible speculations from this article I read in the New York Times. And then they had a podcast, the Times did, talking about how this birth rate drop has happened in Japan over the last 25, 30 years, especially. And they talked about how one of the reasons, perhaps, in Japan for a lower birth rate among all women, a man does 41 minutes of domestic work a day in the Japanese culture. In the United States, a man does 2.5 hours of domestic work a day. They gave an example of a man in Japan saying, "I'm going to drop the kids off at daycare." What he meant was, "I'm going to accompany my wife as we drop the kid." But that he would even go that far is a little unusual. I say all that because the context of what's causing the choices that families, that individuals are making to have a family or not, I think it matters to how a church structures itself, and how we staff, how we perceive the lives of our own members. It's like any change in society. As society changes, what is the role of the church in that change? Do we speak out against a change? Do we encourage the change? Do we adapt, or do we stay back in what was? And I guess the way we are at First Lutheran, we want to learn how to be more present for what is, rather than try to squeeze people or squeeze systems to match what used to be. It might be that our categories are out of date. Churches typically tend to families, pay most attention to families. We're talking about calling a youth and family minister. But I think, as I muse on this, I think the plan is we do need a youth and family minister of some kind to tend to the many families we do have. But what that needs to also do is free up Pastor Karen and myself to get more creative in tending to those who are single, those couples who have chosen not to have kids yet or at all. It sounds like this is going to be, and already is, an increasing demographic in our world. And so the church needs to keep looking and learning and listening. And so we will, as we keep faith alive.